One big topic that is constantly under discussion right now is artificial intelligence. I remember, being as old as I am, I remember the 80s. There was a movie that came out that was called Short Circuit. People who are my age, around my age, might remember it. And one of the lines that I've always remembered from that movie is that computers do not understand. Computers do not imagine. Computers do not laugh at your jokes. They just run programs. I think when we think about artificial intelligence, a lot of it is colored by what we see on TV and the movies we see. I, Robot, oh, look, they've gained sentience and they're taking over the world. Boy, that's far beyond, way beyond the technology we have now. And so much of what we see visionaries doing is saying, well, it can't do it now, but in the future, it'll just speed up exponentially, and we'll be able to accomplish all kinds of things. And that kind of logic reminds me of the flying cars that they guaranteed, freeways in the sky, and the Jetsons. And I'll tell you what, and Rosie the robot, running around the house, doing all sorts of multifarious work for us. That is, what do we got? The Roomba? Which is just a toy. The same with this little, what is it called? The Amazon little robot that they're trying to sell for what, $2,000 a piece? That, anyway, that'll just tip over. And the closest thing we have, what we're working on right now, and so far as I guess what you'd call artificial intelligence, is a very limited project of autonomous vehicles. And we have some autonomous vehicles in some metropolitan areas. And those metropolitan areas are having a hard time because when those taxis find a situation with which they are not familiar, which is going to come up constantly when an autonomous vehicle meets a screwy actual person that doesn't behave according to a program. They just found out, oh my goodness, I forgot my glasses. And all of a sudden they're doing some screwy thing with their car that the autonomous vehicle is not prepared for. When it sees what it is not prepared for, it stops. It better stop, because a stopped vehicle is not liable for what happens at that point. And so some of the municipalities have had autonomous vehicles with no driver's seat, just clogging up intersections because they all run into something with which they're not familiar. There's several things. The autonomous vehicles, I would suppose, are going to obey the law. Hey, that's a good idea. Except for one of those laws is a speed limit. Oh boy, we all want vehicles that are going to be on the freeway that are going to always obey the speed limit, where you have a section that wants everybody to slow down to 45 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour. And those autonomous vehicles are going to obey the law. If a person walks out in front of an autonomous vehicle, they are going to stop. But all of this pales compared to the consideration of liability. Liability for all sorts of artificial intelligence, but let's look at it specifically with autonomous vehicles. If an autonomous vehicle is in a wreck and it is determined to be the vehicle's fault, who is responsible? Not the passenger. You just said the thing's autonomous. And in fact, all of the things that, automatic navigator, but all over the visor on the back of it where all the warnings are say, this is not something to drive your car. This is something to assist the driver. And every time you see an autonomous semi-tractor trailer, guess who's behind the steering wheel? A individual. Guess who's responsible for the actions of that vehicle? Not the computer programmer, not the hardware manufacturer. It's the driver that is responsible, the human driver that is responsible. So now, say you actually do have an autonomous vehicle. Who is liable? Who is going to have to carry the insurance? The person who did all the software and the, quote, learning software? Do they have to pay for any and all accidents that happen with that vehicle? They're sure not going to want to. That's going to increase their cost of business tremendously. The hardware manufacturer that makes the sensors that are all coated with ice in freezing weather and dirt? I wouldn't think so. The passenger? No, you just told the passenger he doesn't have to drive. The thing's autonomous. This needs to be determined for all sorts of AI. Not just autonomous vehicles, for all sorts, but it seems very clear that it is a huge issue. The issue of liability is huge regarding autonomous vehicles and regarding artificial intelligence as a whole. But you know what? I don't see much intelligence in artificial intelligence. How many times have we all been so frustrated? We look at our phones or our computers and the common refrain is, all I want to do is fill in the blank, some simple process. Right now, my phone, I've been through all the, whatever you call that, troubleshooting and YouTube videos. It sends all of my calls to voicemail. Won't let me answer a single one. I'm sure it's something simple. I'm sure it's something easy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there and hardly applicable to AI. AI is not where it is in the movies. And boy, I may be wrong. I often am. But I sure don't see it coming and meeting the expectations of what we see on television and in the movies anytime soon.